Good morning. Thank you all for coming out this morning. My name is Ron Lewis. I'm Executive Director of Design, Engineering, and Construction Management at Sound Transit. I want to welcome you to Pioneer Square Station and welcome you to Connect 2020. 2020 will be another year of major construction for Sound Transit. That work includes connecting the EastLink tracks you've been watching our crews build in East King County to the existing light rail system. While this progress is very exciting, it comes with short-term impacts that Sound Transit riders and other travelers through downtown need to know. They start this Saturday and will last for 10 weeks. Connecting EastLink requires a creative solution that allows us to keep a busy light rail system running for our customers, while at the same time expanding it to carry thousands more riders each day. So how are we going to meet this challenge? We're going to close one track of light rail at a time to give our workers access they need to tie in the EastLink tracks just south of here at the International District Station. During this 10-week period, known as Connect 2020, there are also 3 weekends, including this upcoming weekend, when light rail through downtown will be completely closed and riders will use shuttle buses. To provide a safe workspace, we will use a single track to operate service in both directions, freeing up the other track to connect to the EastLink. It is important to note that with single track operations comes trains running every 12 minutes, even during peak periods, instead of every 6 minutes as they do today. We expect riders will face crowded trains, crowded platforms, and longer travel times as a result, and they're going to need to provide more time for their trips. We're encouraging our riders to sign up for rider alerts at the Sound Transit website, look for ambassadors who will be present on the trains and also at each station, and follow the signage that will be in each station. Everyone passing through Pioneer Square Station, either traveling north or southbound, will need to change trains right here at this station. To continue onward, they will cross the temporary center platform you'll see below to a waiting train on the opposite track. We recognize the inconvenience of transferring from one train to another, which is why we built the center platform to make it as easy, quick, and safe as possible as we maximize the number of people we can carry and avoid the need for greater service impacts. We will provide as much capacity for riders as possible by running 4-car trains that take full advantage of the 400-foot platform length. For safety, during the Connect 2020 period, bicycles will not be allowed at the Pioneer Square Station. Passengers with bicycles must exit at the University Street or International District Chinatown stations. And also, we're scaling up our customer service with Sound Transit staffers on the ground providing information and guidance. 3 of those key staff members are here today, and I just want to point them out. Mike Bell is our EastLink Executive Project Director, Sepper Sabani, our Construction Manager, and Marie Olson is our Operations Director. Each of them played a key role in putting the Connect 2020 plan together and will be key players in executing the plan. You'll see us Sound Transit staff during weekday commute periods and at other times, including the 3 weekends with full light rail closures downtown. In addition to the full light rail closure this weekend, the other 2 closure weekends are planned for February 8th and 9th and March 14th and 15th. During these weekends, riders will use shuttle buses between Capitol Hill and Soto stations. Light rail will run north from Capitol Hill Station and south from Soto Station. To avoid platform crowding during the weekend closures, no fares will be required on trains or on the shuttle buses. And just as we have throughout the entire Seattle squeeze, we will be teaming up with our partners at the City of Seattle, King County Metro, and the Washington State Department of Transportation, counting on their efforts to help keep us moving. For example, the Seattle Department of Transportation is improving the Royal Brome crossing near Stadium Station, and Metro is operating our shuttle buses during the weekend closures. I want to thank Sam Zimbabwe, SDOT Director, and King County Metro's Chris O'Clair for joining us today. You'll hear from both of them in a moment. While this construction work will be disruptive to all, we can all look forward to light rail service expansions over the next 4 years and beyond. With the connection at the International District in place, our system will be ready to open 3 new stations in 2021, serving the projected 50,000 riders at the U District, Roosevelt, and Northgate stations. And yet another 50,000 riders will take advantage of EastLink's 10 new stations starting in 2023. Just a year after that, in 2024, we'll open new extensions to Linwood, Federal Way, downtown Redmond, and also launch 4 bus rapid transit lines. The work accomplished as part of Connect 2020 will not only position light rail service to reach the east side, but enable the system as a whole to grow from 22 miles today to a truly regional system of 116 miles in the coming 2 decades. This will also include long-awaited connections to Tacoma and Everett, as well as West Seattle to Ballard. For more now on how our partners are teaming with us to keep people moving during this latest chapter of Seattle Squeeze, I'd like to introduce Seattle Department of Transportation Director Sam Zimbabwe.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks and Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to Connect 2020. We're halfway through the 3rd chapter of the Seattle Squeeze, which really started when we started tolling in the new tunnel, the Alaskan Way Viaduct Tunnel. It's a tough but exciting milestone as we're building this regional system and making transit an even better option to driving throughout the region. I know I can talk through it, but it's a little bit distracting. The agency partnerships that we've built through the Squeeze will continue to serve us well as we plan for the expected and for the unexpected over the next 10 weeks. When Connect 2020 starts, we expect more people walking, more people on buses throughout the downtown, and an increase in ride-hail services used at stations, which could lead to some additional congestion around some of the stations around downtown. So we know that whether or not you use light rail, this has the potential to alter circulation around the downtown. At the city, we continue to use our 5-pillar strategy to keep people and goods moving. That starts with managing, monitoring, and adapting to traffic in real time. Leading up to Connect 2020, we built some important infrastructure that will help keep people moving. In November, we completed the South End Connection bike connection that uses 5th Avenue and Main to connect to the 2nd Avenue protected bike lane. And then working with Sound Transit, we identified and made upgrades to the infrastructure at Royal Brougham, a critical component to keeping trains moving during this period. Second, we added through the Seattle voter-approved investments, we made changes to city streets that kept buses moving, and we added a significant number of bus trips starting in September through the partnership with King County Metro. Third, we've supported employers with tools to help employees use transit, flex schedule, and carpool. We've been managing private and public construction to minimize impacts in and around the stations downtown, and we've been using events, web, and social media to provide a steady flow of meaningful, updated information to help the public navigate downtown. Anyone looking for information should use flipyourtrip.org. Remember, your commute is a community decision. Don't drive if you don't have to. No matter how you travel, give yourself extra time. If you have flexibility, shift the hours you travel to a little earlier or a little later. Try something you haven't tried before. Jump Bike Share is offering 20% discount on rides through mid-March. Grab a bike, use some of the new infrastructure that we've built. Remember, this is just part of the Seattle Squeeze, the period over the next 5 years, where big public and private construction projects are changing how we get around downtown and the whole of the region. We've also started heavy construction on the waterfront. We have a lot more to share about that in the coming weeks as well. Remember, be kind and patient with your fellow travelers. The challenges we're tackling now will be worth it in the future. And with that, I'll turn it over to King County Metro's Mobility Division Director, Chris O'Clair.
Good morning and Happy New Year. As Sam just said, this is just the next chapter of the Seattle Squeeze. And so what we're asking today with our partners is for everyone to be patient and to be prepared. And it's most important, as Sam just said, is to try something new and work with your community members to understand what your options are. So what are we doing at King County Metro is, as been described earlier today, is we're looking at 2 major steps. First, when there's major closures during the weekends, we're adding shuttle services that will connect people between the stations throughout downtown Seattle. Work with the ambassadors to understand how to connect with those shuttles, and note that the service is free during this time period. So be patient and use the service that is available to you. Second, during the 10-week closure that's happening, Metro is adding additional trips to many routes within downtown Seattle, including the 7, the 36, the 48, the 49, and 70. These routes are routes that we see that there might be more crowding and more delay. And I think it's really important as we do this, we're going to be working with our partners to monitor what's happening throughout the downtown. We do expect that many of our stops and stations will have more crowding. And we are going to be working with our partners to understand if there's more services we should be adding during this time period. So in recap, as we work with Sound Transit during the weekend closures and as we continue to work with our partners during this 10-week closure, we here at King County Metro are here to provide you public transportation service. Get online to our King County Metro Trip Planner and learn how to plan a trip to coming in and around in your community. Thank you.
Okay, we will invite some questions, and I'd ask staff to come a little bit closer so we can go to the bench as necessary.
So you have a few years to do this work, like this 10-week stretch.
We looked at all of our projects that are being delivered now, including Northgate Link in particular, and wanted to time this in a way that facilitated Northgate Link and also getting done with Eastlink, the connection at Eastlink as part of the construction of Eastlink. This time, we looked at the overall schedule and found the least active time of the year that we could do this in conjunction with our partners, so we'd have the minimum amount of impact on both our riders and on other events going on. And this was the time that we identified as the time that was best suited for this connection.
The Seahawks would have had a playoff game this weekend when they called this off.
I tell you, we had a lot of folks looking at the Seahawks schedule, and I was just talking to Sam, and as everyone knows, we were this close. We had a conversation about that. We would not have called it off. We had planned this. We're going to execute it per schedule, but we were watching the Seahawks and are continuing to root for them, hoping they'd make it all the way.
Escalators and elevators are already closed routinely.
So as many of you know, currently the downtown tunnel is owned and maintained by King County Metro. We're in a transition period to transition that over to Sound Transit. During this time period, the accessibility of these stations is one of our top priorities. As you probably know, we have a contractor that maintains these escalators and elevators, and we have we have aligned our resources to hold our contractor accountable during this time period. We know that there are a couple escalators right now that are not open. We do expect to have most of them open during in the next week or two. It is something to note that they are 30-year-old escalators. So it is, we will be working closely with our partners as this is happening and making sure the accessibility of these stations is our top priority and continuing to communicate either through online, through Twitter feeds, and or the ambassadors that Sound Transit has. We have more eyes on this tunnel than we've ever had before. So we really do expect a quick response to this, to all situations having to do with accessibility to stations.
I think the question was around the dwell time. Here at Pioneer Square, there's going to be a 2-minute dwell. Our stations are typically 20 to 30 seconds, but 2 minutes here.
I didn't hear the full. Yes, ambassadors will not only be in the downtown stations, but at other stations as well. And they'll be communicating with daily passengers and also any tourists that are coming in town. Other questions? Very good. Well, thank you all very much, and we look forward to seeing you on the trains. Thank you.